In the land of Uz there was a man. His name was Job. This man was good and just. He feared God and he shunned sin. 7 sons were born to him and 3 daughters. These were his possessions: 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 teams of cattle, 500 female asses, and his servants numbered many hundreds. This man was greatest of the sons of ages past. So, this is what his sons were like. On his day, each would host a banquet at his house, and they'd enjoin the 3 to come and eat and drink. At the close of every round of feast days, Job would reconsecrate them. Rising early, he offered up cattle according to their number. For Job said, "It may be that in their hearts they cursed God." This Job did for all his days. Hi, welcome to this new translation of the book of Job. I'm going to, at this point, discuss the first 5 verses a little bit. It starts focusing on Job, then talks about his children, and then goes back to Job. And this is a pattern that will be important in the book of Job, because it starts with Job representing equilibrium, and then it goes to his children. They represent a chaotic influence in this episode, and then it returns to Job, a restoration of equilibrium. So this has sort of a pyramid shape. You can think about it as an Egyptian pyramid, or even a pyramid shaped roughly like the traditional idea of the zaggurat in Babylon. That'll be important too. Why do I say that the children represent chaos? Well, there's a little bit of a hint in the fact that they seem to be hard partiers. And I think there's another hint in the idea that they are inviting their 3 sisters to join them in eating and drinking. I don't know this. I've done quick research. I can't find any proof of it, but I have a feeling that at least at the upper strata of society, this just was not done. And I'm thinking about the book of Esther, where the king and the queen, Vashti, separately had their own celebrations. They did not mix. I think that this is probably typical of at least the upper strata of society. And so when the brothers and their sisters were combining for this eating and drinking, it was a little bit scandalous to the people who first heard the book of Job as it was performed. Now, in this beginning, we learn 2 things about Job. First of all, we learn about the public Job, the Job that everybody saw. Job was rich. That's the first section, the first few verses describe his enormous wealth. And then we learn about the private Job, the pious Job, the reverent Job, the God-fearing Job. And so we see these 2 sides. And the book of Job is really a contest to see if one can survive without the other. Which is more important to Job? Which is more fundamental to his character? Is it the wealth, or is it the reverence for God? Now, the way I'm translating this, I'm more of a student of Hebrew than an expert. In fact, let me just take the more of out of that. I'm a student of Hebrew, not an expert. I'm learning to translate. I'm learning to read Hebrew. And so what I do is I'll translate, and then I'll compare my translation to a bunch of different translations. And that'll point out to me where I seem to have gone off the rail. And in doing this, I looked at one translation that translated cursed God, as in it may be that they cursed God. And they translated it, the New English Bible translated that as blasphemed. Blasphemed is sort of a broad category in which the term cursed God fits. What is it to blaspheme but to treat something that is holy as unholy? And in a larger sense, blasphemy fits into a larger category of falsehood, because after all, if you are treating something that is holy as unholy, aren't you being false? And this will be a very important other theme in the book of Job. It's finding out the truth. It's the difference between truth and falsehood, and that will be huge. Now, there's a very poetic element to this last part, because there are a lot of words in here that talk about rising. Rising early, he offered up cattle. At sacrifices, the smoke goes up according to their number. And that rising up, in your mind, imagine a Holocaust. Imagine a sacrifice of these 10 cattle, one for each of his children, which was a dent in his wealth. I hope the children didn't party too often. But picture the rising. Oh, there's a jet in the background. I'll keep it in. Because it's up. That's sort of nice. Because imagine this smoke rising up toward where the jet just passed. And if you follow it to its end, it rises to heaven. And so it takes us to the beginning of the next scene.